We're members of a trade association called the National Association of Electrical Distributors. And when we were at convention, they would talk about succession planning. And my dad would always get all fired up. He would say, you know, we need something in Toledo to help family businesses. We need resources like this in Toledo to help family businesses. There's nothing like this locally and we need to do something about it. So I heard him talk about it for probably, 5 years. He came back one year and he started making phone calls. He said, I'm going to make this happen.
The Center for Family Business was a topic of interest to both my dad and myself. And primarily we're at the point where we're transitioning from one generation to the next. And we were kind of looking for outside resources. And ironically, there was a newspaper article on a Sunday that was touting about the beginning of the business center. And I think we both walked in with the newspaper on Monday morning and we said, this sounds like the place for us to start.
When my father first started the appliance center, there were over 40 independent dealers in town, and today we've whittled down to basically us. So he knew the importance of family businesses getting support because he watched them dwindle away in his own industry.
At that point in time, there was a lot of discussion going on regarding this would be a great opportunity for the family-owned businesses in the community to have a forum and an opportunity to meet with other founders and leaders and members of the family business community.
It was a pretty darn bright idea. Family businesses, startup family businesses, are all trying to find their way. And the university, the business school, wants to relate to the community, and Toledo had a lot of these.
The university has done something I think is unique to them, very, very good, and really let the members and the family business leaders guide the center.
We just started having meetings and inviting people and having speakers, and got off to a fast start.
The response was better than any other nonprofit I was ever involved with. It was really fun to see so many people show up. We called our first meeting and hardly had enough chairs in the room, so it was obvious that the demand was there.
We had about 75 people at the Toledo Club. It was all word of mouth. We hadn't had a membership campaign yet. So we had Dick Gross and Jim Finley and Dick Anderson talk about succession in their businesses, and you could hear a pin drop. It was so interesting that people related to Dick Anderson, who was CEO of a very large corporation, and Jim Finley and Dick Gross, who were presidents and leaders of their own smaller family businesses, yet they all had the same challenges. You know, it was very interesting to hear that Dick Anderson was up all night worrying about succession in a company like his.
The center has helped most of these companies with transition, and that's a big thing in family businesses. Transitioning from one level to the next, passing the values from one generation down to the next.
I was part of the affinity group, the original affinity group called Next Generation, which was all future family members destined to take over or in line to take over the family business, which did work out that way for me and actually most of the members of which were in that group. We held monthly meetings to really help us share our concerns and our opportunities for the future.
There's a certain affinity, if you will, with family businesses, and it was fun to watch them understand each other's challenges and relate and tell stories. A lot were humorous. It was great. If you're not having fun, you're not really doing a great job. So.
It's been member-driven. We have had great members. They've stepped up to the plate. They've been active in committees, and we just had outstanding people that would be willing to lead and be a part of this.
My dad was always very open about what he's done, what he thinks has worked, what hasn't worked. He's always believed that sharing is a good thing rather than a bad thing. The more information you get out there, the more you help other people, the more it benefits all of us.
It's like a family. It's group of people, and that you like, and there's no bones to pick, or they don't want to, they have some problems you have, and I'm not the only ones that have problems, so I can go to them too.
My problems are not unique. That's the main thing I learned. There's somebody else has experienced the same problem. They might not be selling appliances or furniture, they might be selling widgets or whatever, or they might be providing a service, but they've all had the same personnel issues, they've all had the same transition issues, family issues. It's all been done before.
We quickly understood that the expertise and the experience that we needed to discuss within the center's programs was within our community, including our advisory board, our committee members, and all of our members and our sponsors.
I don't have to invent the wheel. It's been there. It's just about finding people who you can trust, who you can share confidentially and understand their issues and yours. And the networking, the value of that is unbelievable.
I think that people get as much out of networking, sitting at tables and talking to other family business owners as they do out of the presentation. It's as much about having people to call when you have issues as it is about what you're learning from the speaker.
You always felt that you were unique or you're on an island by yourself, and being part of the center helped you engage with other people that really had identical both challenges, rewards, and opportunities in a family business. And so what really started as a small nugget has really kind of grown into something very unique for both the University of Toledo and the Center for Family Business, but also for us.
Information is out there everywhere. Everyone can get any kind of information they need. What people need help with is how to use it and to actually implement it.
The speakers that we would bring in from all over the country, there was always good value in learning from their stories and their situations, because then you would oftentimes see similarities between what you were confronted with and maybe what they had already been confronted with. And nobody goes without those needs. Every business has these challenges, and we're not unique. We find out we're not unique at all. We're all very similar with the challenges that we face.
We brought in some exciting speakers. I mean, really exciting. I remember a lumber company from New England where the owner had to fire one of his sons, and he gave us the reasons. He could talk to us here in Toledo much better than he can say anything up in New England where people knew him. And they gave us insights into what they did with their families, which helped us.
One of the biggest things I gained early on, I called a friend of mine, Dick Gross, and I told him, I says, Dick, I says, I know you have went through this. We had talked about a CFO or a financial person. And I called Dick and I said, Dick, how did you handle it? He said, Jim, he says, make sure that when you put a financial person in, don't put family in there. Keep it from outside the family. It's probably one of the biggest blessings and moves that I made. And of course, the non-family member has played quite a role. Mark Myers played quite a role within as a non-family member.
They've also broadened the umbrella to bringing in non-family members. And there's, at any one time, there could be 4 or 5 different Century Equipment associates that have participated in a program with the University of Toledo. It still provides us kind of the guiding light on what our responsibilities are. Primarily, most of us are second-generation owners, on how to move the businesses forward, how to take what we've received and make it better. And I think that's what's unique about it, and I think that's what made the member-driven part of the center very special and unique.
20 years can go by in a blink of an eye, and what I might have learned, or my uncle might have learned early in the involvement in the center, 15, 20 years go by and there's new people coming in to to situations, and you really have to do some of that same learning all over again. I get so excited about what family businesses and small businesses mean to communities, and yet there's an awful lot of challenges that are able to be understood and addressed when you have the ability to come together and share in a forum like the Family Business Center. So the biggest single thing is I see it here and I see it vibrant.
We are trying to be more regional, global, trying to become a body of knowledge, not just forums and mini forums and affinity groups, but more of a body of knowledge that we can reference in other people that are going to go through a transition.
90% of the businesses out there are family businesses, and as that grows and people start understanding that there's support, they can have support, how good the university has done. The University of Toledo has done a fabulous job. I mean, I know that they're the envy of anybody wanting to set this up. They're the model standard. So there's something really good that started here.
We're like a family business. We have to hold on to our traditions, our foundations, our values, the main core of what we do. At the same time, we have to let go of the way we do it somehow and be innovative and change and still relate. I mean, 20-year-olds today were not born 20 years ago, so it's a switch. And it's a balance that I think every business goes through.
Unfortunately, my dad has dementia right now, but I know that he would be so proud of what has happened with the center because he thinks it's vitally important, and he would be amazed at all the people that come and how many members and the quality of the programs they're putting on. He would be absolutely thrilled.